Welcome to Multiple Horizons Native Perspectives at the Crossroads. My name is Sigrid Benson, and it is my honor to serve the Shingle Springs Band of Miwok Indians as Director of the Exhibits and Collections Department. We could not do our work without the support of staff in the Cultural Resources Division and the support of Tribal Council and Chairwoman Regina Cuellar. We would like to thank the Crocker Community Gallery and all of the Crocker staff, as well as Concept Art and Movement, an incubator of arts and culture El Dorado. I'm here with my colleague, Curator of Collections, Jacky Calanchini, who's going to tell us a little bit about what this place means to her.
Thank you, Sigrid. So the land that the Crocker sits on is actually traditional Nisenan territory, more specifically Nisenan, which many of our relatives are descendants of. So it's a real honor to show alongside the relatives here and bring in regional artists who have their own perspectives of this land also. A lot of our relatives actually still come down to this area for gathering, teaching, or just being part of the land. This area is known to be part of a trade and gathering area, and it still is today. We want to thank the regional artists who've contributed their work to the show. It shows a greater perspective of all of the tribes that have been a part of the Sacramento Valley. We hope you enjoy the show.
Well, my name is Jeremy Pecanum, and I'm a traditional Mountain Maidu artist. My genre of art has been called many things. Some people call it primitive art. Some people call it utilitarian art. I prefer utilitarian art because although some of the pieces I make are considered primitive technology, they're still highly advanced for their day. I mean, I can tell you it takes hours and hours and hours to master something like this. And what I have for display here is a little mixture of the old and new. Growing up in Susanville, we colorfully call this scratch art. This is traditional Maidu scrimshaw is the term they use these days. And what I have for you is a little mixture of traditional Maidu scrimshaw mixed in with post-contact steel blades to make a traditional knife. And this particular knife was found in a kitchen drawer in an auntie's kitchen, and it actually is a 1860s, 1870s broken cavalry sword. So this is a repurposed blade from the reservation that for one reason or another probably was traded for, picked up, or just utilized and turned into a kitchen knife, and it's actually an old broken cavalry sword. So I repurposed it, rehandled it, and the two components are elk antler, scrimshaw, and abalone. Traditionally, the Maidu people would use abalone, especially in my mountain region, as money, as wealth, as something pretty. It's used for ornamentation. It's used for value. It's used for trade. And you would definitely use it to adorn your ceremonial items or things that you treasure. And what you see here is what we call traditional basket designs, really geometric shapes, and you'll see them in ornamentation, jewelry, basketry work, any form of art. What you see, the chrome shiny metal, is pewter inlay. It's another 1870s, 1880s technology. It's lead and tin mixed together, and between the two, you get one really fancy knife. We have just a few more examples for you. Here is another example of traditional Maidu scrimshaw, or scratch art we used to call it. And this is something that was developed especially in my region up there in Susanville, Lassen County, where it snows a lot. And what are you going to do when it snows a lot? You're going to start to make things elaborate. You're going to have time on your hands while you're sitting around your roundhouse to start making things pretty. So here's another example of traditional Maidu scrimshaw, a geometric shape, abalone inlay. And the inlay is simply pine pitch mixed with charcoal. And that together forms a kind of Indian asphalt. It's a waterproof glue that we use for many purposes, one of them being abalone inlay. So the idea with these pieces is it's a mixture of the old and new. So we have our traditional art, we have our post-contact steel blades, and this particular one is another 1870s repurposed gold rush blade. Comes from Greenville, which is just down the road from Susanville. And the idea is the art still survives, the art evolves, the traditional meets the modern and still carries on to this day. And it's much the same in the Sacramento Valley, all our traditional lands. You can still find roundhouses out there, and you can still definitely find skyscrapers out there. So the old and new are still meshing together and evolving, and so does our traditional arts. So there is a really fancy, old-timey, modern knife. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Chante Warlick, and I have two pieces in this show, Multiple Horizons, called Balance, and it's a two-part painting broken into male and female. They both have representational shapes, movement from traditional dance and basketry patterns. It's a huge break from my usual genre. I tend to work in very hyper-realistic oils and acrylics, but this one is watercolor, ink, and it's very abstract. It's a reflection of the energy I think that I felt when we went into the Mather collections. Natives are not generally allowed into these old state collections, but a group of us artists were allowed in, thank you, Sigrid Benson, to really inspect it and see if we can get some inspiration and start reconnecting with these baskets and objects that are very sacred to us. So when I went home to paint these pieces, the energy that was in there was just, holy cow, and I wound up with two very distinct, very not like my art style pieces, but they've grown on me. So I hope everybody enjoys them. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Gerald Stone. I'm happy to be here at the Crocker. I could spend all day walking around. We're doing a show, Native American, and I'm happy to be a participant. I have three pieces in the show, and the primary theme that I was asked about when we were going to submit artwork was Sacramento as a crossroads, and Multiple Horizons is a part of it. And so there's kind of mixed themes involved, especially with different artists. And mine is pretty much showing how each image or each painting is basically a crossroads painting. Time, space, physicalness, this world and other worlds. And I try to put in things that people don't see right away, that when they do see them, they'll ask questions. Why, what? And so I get an enjoyment out of people that wonder, why is it like that? My stuff isn't realistic, but the things I put in it sometimes are fun, unusual, and out of place. And when we talk about crossroads, I do think of Sacramento as a crossroads. It was, especially during the times of a settlement. Native Americans were already here, and it was a causeway to bring people here. One of the causeways, the other being over the mountains. And in the primary painting I have here, which is called Crossroads, it shows an escape from this world through the nexus or crossroads. And in a lot of my paintings, I use giants, giant red-headed Native Americans, and I use what I call watchers, which are skull people that have a similarity to a buffalo skull. And the watchers are also in Jewish and English versions of the Old Testament, and they were supposed to be bad guys. Well, in some of mine, I've changed them to be good guys, and they're helping an exodus in this painting. And the two big red-headed giants are involved in it. One has in her cradle in her arms a baby Yoda, and in her skirt a little political there. Have Trump in chains or bracelets, and it's just to make people wonder. I like color, so you're going to see color in my paintings, and they're pretty much just kind of like fantasy science fiction with a native influence. Your art changes over a lot of years. The more things you see, become involved with, or hear about, and that's what this has come to at this point for me. And that's about it. My artwork is just for fun and to scratch an itch I can't get rid of.